All right, we are recording again. We're going to do some Q&A. There's been a lot of good questions in the community. You guys in the live chat right now can put questions in the chat if you want me to answer a question right now. And I'm just going to go through some of the questions we've been collecting in the community because honestly, it's too many questions for me to answer through typing, and I would rather just say it, explain the answers with my words because I think I can give you a better answer that way anyway. So let me go through our chat rooms and just see what kind of questions are coming through. Okay. Let's go up. I'm going to start it from like about maybe 2 weeks ago here. Okay, first question that I got is Chief Hammer 74 says, my mother tongue is German, but my English isn't that bad. In fact, I feel like I can rhyme pretty smooth in English. Do you know of anybody who's tried to rap in another language? I don't know of anybody who's rapped in another language off the top, but there are a lot of rappers who rap in two languages. I mean, Bad Bunny, Pitbull, there are like some famous people who rap in Spanish and in English. So you can definitely rap in German and in English. And one of my dreams in my life is actually to learn how to spit off the top in Spanish. My Spanish is totally basic. I have like an elementary school Spanish level of speaking, but I would love to learn Spanish better and take all of my freestyle rap principles and learnings and apply them to Spanish and learn how to freestyle rap in a second language because it is totally possible. I guarantee you that if you speak German and English, you can learn how to freestyle in German and in English, for sure. Another question, same by Chief Hammer. Right now I'm struggling with a blank brain as soon as I start rhyming, but I reckon that is a phase a lot of people have gone through in the beginning. Yeah, if you're drawing a blank when you're rapping, you just need to rap more. You'll get more stuff. Play the rhyme game. If you play the rhyme game, it will give you stuff to rap about, so you don't have to worry. Again, if you're struggling with one part of rap, it actually helps a lot to remove that part entirely and focus on the other parts of rap. Because if you get better at the other parts, sometimes that part you're struggling with just gets better magically because everything touches everything else. So if you use the rhyme game to provide you stuff to rap about, it'll get your brain much more familiar with coming up with those ideas. And my video is frozen again. As always. Here we go. All right, back to the Discord. This is actually the question that made me want to do this. So Ravion, if you're watching this, your question was what made me want to do a Q&A. So Ravion asked a long question, and I didn't want to type it out here, but he said, is there any way to work on non-rhyming? You know, for example, could we set up a night where the bar bot says like a subject and then we try to non-rhyme? I know it sounds silly and maybe I'll get laughed at, but I just wonder if my style works with non-rhyming. I was looking at Chris Turner's How to Freestyle video from a few years ago. I saw he talked about how you don't always have to rhyme. Dude, 100% you can rap without rhyming. I totally endorse rapping without rhyming. Let me show you my favorite thing to do with total beginners. If you're a total complete beginner, if you just started, this is a practice exercise I recommend, and you don't have to rhyme for it. I'm gonna set the rhyme game on A. No words. And what I'm gonna do Me and My People. You've probably seen it on my YouTube channel. Basically, Me and My People is a game where you, for the beginning of each line, you say Me and My People, and at the end, you say whatever you want. But here's the trick. If you're a beginner, you could do Me and My People, and you don't even have to rhyme. My favorite thing to do around the campfire is play Me and My People, and I tell people don't rhyme. Just say whatever you want. You don't even have to rhyme. You can just like say whatever word comes to mind. So let me show you what it sounds like. So it goes, me and my people, spitting some raps. Me and my people, we're all hanging out. Me and my people, we're sitting at the fire. Me and my people playing the rhyme game. Me and my people up in the Discord. Me and my people, freestyle revolution. Me and my people taking over the world. Me and my people spitting a lot of bars. So that's a great way to practice non-rhyming, because the three ingredients of freestyle rap is rhythm, rhyme, and rhetoric. If you get rid of rhyming, you still have rhythm and you still have rhetoric, like words, you still have words. And if you think about other instruments like guitar or piano or the drums, they don't rhyme. They don't even make words, but they still make beautiful music. So it's totally possible to make beautiful music without rhyming. You just need to keep the rhythmic structure. If the rhythm is tight and the rhythmic structure sounds good, you do not need to rhyme. You can still sound good. And in fact, a lot of advanced freestyle rappers, they need to be taught how to not rhyme, because the biggest problem is they get stumped like, I can't think of a rhyme, and then they don't say anything. It's like, dude, I'd rather have you say a word that doesn't rhyme than just say nothing. So, right, just work on it. Force yourself to practice where you don't rhyme. It will help, and you don't have to rhyme. All right, I got a question here from July 22nd. Can someone give me advice on something? To make a long story short, I found a sort of flow I can go through, but I have a problem continuing the rhymes in the flow. I can go for around, let's say 30 to 50 seconds, flowing continuously, but then I start to jumble words and look for rhymes to add. I am practicing and adding more rhyming vocabulary by doing rhyme games and constantly finding rhyme words for stuff around me, but I don't know how to get past the gap where I start to lose flow and lyrics. Is there some... Oh, my camera's frozen again. Dude, I gotta figure out what's going on with this camera over here, huh? Is there some kind of exercise I can do outside of rhyme games to be able to get past the 30 to 50 seconds mark, or I just keep pushing and adding more rhymes over time? So I think it sounds like your problem is not actually rhyming, but it's a part of the rhyming skill family. If you find yourself rapping and rapping and rapping, but then you run out of ideas, then the problem is not that you don't have rhymes, because obviously you have rhymes. You're just rhyming for 30 seconds. You were going for 30 seconds with rhymes and with rhythm and with rhetoric, and then you ran out of ideas. So it's not the rhymes that are hurting you, it's coming up with new ideas. The hardest part about going from like a white belt rapper or a yellow belt rapper to a blue belt freestyle rapper is learning how to juggle ideas where you're saying one thing and you're thinking of another thing. So what you need to practice is coming up with, what am I going to say on the next bar while you are saying the current bar? It's the hardest skill to learn. It takes so long to master it, but you will basically go from 30 seconds to 50 seconds all the way to being able to rap for 30 minutes to 50 minutes once you learn how to think of the next bar while you're saying the current bar. So if I were saying like, I love to drop freestyle bars while I'm driving in my car. That's a just basic rap line. When I'm saying while I'm driving in my car, hopefully I've already got that lined up in my head, so I already know what I'm going to say. And my eyes, focus on where your eyes are looking. Your eyes tell a lot about what you're going to say next. My eyes are already looking for something else to say. So maybe I'm sitting in my car. I say, I love to drop some freestyle bars while I'm sitting in my... Now time slows down and I'm like looking around. Boom, street light, red light. Okay, while I'm driving in my car, and as I say the word car, I already know I'm going to rap about a red light. I spit the freestyle rhymes off the top of the head, right? I'm kicking it in traffic while I'm chilling at the red light. But while I'm saying red light, my eyes are looking somewhere else. So what it is when you're running out of steam and you're running out of ideas, you're really just running out of your mental battery being able to look as you're talking. Because it takes a lot of energy to look around and get another word while you're talking. So you just have to focus on always having the next idea before your current line ends. The rule of thumb is, if you say your punchline, I love to spit some freestyle bars while I'm sitting in my car. If I say car and I don't know what I'm going to say for the next punchline, it's too late. So you got to try to practice coming up with it before you even say your current punchline. It's so hard. It's such a big skill. Keep practicing the rhyme game. You will get better at it. All right, let's get some more questions out of the way in the general chat. Let's see. In the Technique Talk channel, we had a couple questions. Okay, Dracon, I think is the name. Yo, I freestyle really good sometimes, kind of, but then other times I sound awful and it feels out of my control. Welcome to the freestyle rap world, my friend. It's like it's out of my control if I'm gonna spit game or not. Does anyone know how to fix this? I'm trying to improve my consistency. Yes, I do know how to fix it. Practice, practice, practice. Specifically, play the rhyme game. The rhyme game is ultimately like, I invented 100 ways to practice over the 10 years that I've been freestyle rapping. I've invented 100 different ways to get better, but every way made me get better at rapping, kind of like sounding good, but it never made me get better at consistency, and it never made me get better at going a long time. The only thing that rapidly improved my consistently and my duration was the rhyme game. Practice the rhyme game, rhyme game, rhyme game, rhyme game, rhyme game. Once the rhyme game is like in your heart and locked in, and it's easy to do as it is to walk, then you're gonna be able to freestyle for an hour and just like anytime you want. I could be in the middle of a busy work day and I'm like running to my car and somebody could stop me and go, yo, Big Al, spit a rap. Boom, I can spit a rap. But it's because I've practiced the rhyme game so much. Okay, Soul, you asked this question in the Technique Talk channel, so I wanted to answer it. I've been freestyling on and off for 10 years. Yo, dude, let's go. We started freestyling around the same time. I decided to go all in on freestyling a few days ago. Bro, that is exactly what I did like 3 years ago. That's exactly, I loved it for like 10 years, and then I decided one day, I'm just gonna get so good at it. That's what I decided. My New Year's resolution in 2021 was get nasty at freestyle rapping. And actually, one of the things that helped me the most was I had a chance to meet Harry Mack a couple times, and I told him, my goal is to get better at freestyling. What should I do? So to have someone who's done it give me some advice helped a lot. Sometimes it's like I'm starting from ground zero like a babbling baby. Bro, I totally agree. Sometime I will share with you guys clips from my early live streams. They're embarrassing. I just couldn't even go more than 1 minute on the beat. In your experience, when you sit down to practice and it feels like nothing's working, what are some surefire practices that will help expand the content of what is being rapped about rather than just the vibe? Yes, I love the way you look at it, man, because the content and the skill of the rap is rhythm, rhyme, and rhetoric, and the vibe is something else. Like, you can make a great vibe even if you have no skills. You can make a good sound, good tone, a fun vibe. You could make it even if you're bad at rapping. And the same is true the other way around. You could be an amazing rapper, but you kill the vibe. So the vibe is a different thing. In terms of skills, we talked about it in the rap theory, just like in the last hour, which is just isolate those skills, man. Isolate the rhythm, isolate the rhyme, isolate the rhetoric. If you're practicing your rhetoric, take rhyme and rhythm out of the equation. Don't practice rhythm and rhyme, just practice rhetoric, and then practice just rhyme with no rhythm or rhetoric. If you can isolate the skills, what's gonna happen is you go to bed, you wake up tomorrow, your brain has rewired itself, and you're suddenly better at everything when it's put together. So that's my advice there. AT said, go back here, Technique Talk. AT said, hey, I just started freestyling nearly a month in. Welcome to the freestyle revolution, man. You're who we're doing it for. Just started a month ago. I'm starting to find a point where I'm able to continuously flow with the beat. I love that. I find myself struggling to think what can rhyme with the line I just said. What is a good way to get rid of this and to be able to find rhymes quickly? Also, how do you approach freestyling line by line? How much do you plan? How much do you come up with a new line after you say the current one? Bro, I love you. That is such a good question. How to get better at rhyming. I'm gonna give advice just for beginners right now. Just for people who are like, actually no, screw that. This advice is for everyone. If you're an advanced freestyle rapper and you cannot do what I'm about to tell you to do, you ain't an advanced freestyle rapper. So this is a practice for everyone. If you want to get total control, complete like Thanos with the Infinity Stones, just control over the freestyle universe, you have to master one-syllable rhymes. I'll tell you why. One-syllable rhymes, you know what a syllable is? It's like a sound. So one syllable is like cat or phone or dog. Two syllables is like I don't know, a two-syllable word. I can't think of one right now. Like hatchet, right? Like, or like t-shirt, two syllables, right? I can't believe I just drew a blank on that. One-syllable rhymes, the reason you want to master them. A one-syllable word is made of a beginning sound, a middle vowel sound, and an ending sound. So a beginning sound can be any number of consonants like p, k, t, sh, right? So shirt, like k, cat, p, pot, right? So the beginning sound. The middle sound is always a vowel, ah, e, I, right? And then the ending sound, t, p, k, ch, sh, right? Or maybe it doesn't even have an ending sound, like the word I doesn't have a beginning or an ending sound. It's just I. Or a, right? Or ooh. So one-syllable words, they all have that easy formula. And the beginning sound doesn't matter because the only thing that matters in a rhyme is the ending sound. Cat, pat, fat, tat. They all have different beginning sounds, but they all have the same ending sound. I'm getting to something here. When it comes to the ending sound in one-syllable words in the English language, this is English specifically, there are only about 300 ending sounds. I'll repeat that. When it comes to one-syllable words in the English language, there are only about 300 ending sounds. To be precise, there's about 333, but some of them have no rhymes, some of them we don't really use at all, so let's call it 300. 300 sounds is not very much to remember. I can name you like 500 Pokemon off the top of my head, and I haven't played Pokemon in like 10 years. Memorizing 300 of something is actually very possible for your brain. So, if you want to never run out of rhymes again, master your one-syllable words. And what I do when I'm rapping is I always put extra emphasis on the last syllable, even if it's a multi-syllable rhyme. So let's say I'm rapping about my studio. I might say, I'm sitting here in my studio. Now I can rhyme something that rhymes with studio. You know I love to truly flow or something like that. Or I can disregard all the previous syllables and I could just say, I'm sitting here in my studio. Everybody knows I like to flow. It's a very easy way to never get stumped. So if you focus on the last syllable of every sentence and you have mastered all 300 one-syllable rhymes, you'll never get stumped ever again while rapping. And the awesome thing is, if you use I use the rhyme game, I do one-syllable words, and if you do 30 one-syllable words a day, it's not even, that takes like 5 minutes. Practice 30 one-syllable words. Every 10 days, you've done 300 words. Every 10 days, you've done every word in the English language. So by the time you go through a month, you've done like every single rhyme in the English language like multiple times. By the time you do that for 2 or 3 months, you will never, ever get stumped by a rhyme ever again. So I hope that little trick helps you. Practice one-syllable rhymes, one-syllable rhymes, one-syllable rhymes. If you are not a master of one-syllable rhymes, you are not a master of rap. The other part of your question, how do you approach freestyling line by line? How much do you plan? Do you come up with a new line right after you say the current one? Sometimes if I'm really in the flow state, I can create like an entire story in my head and play it out throughout the entire rap. So I can plan like 2 verses, like 30 bars ahead. But that only happens like once a month. Usually I'm like 1 or 2 lines ahead. kind of the same answer that Harry Mack gives. It's usually like 1 or 2 lines ahead, and that's it. And I'm not even thinking of the entire line. I just have like 1 or 2 rhymes or 1 or 2 ideas, and that's all I have. James Kent says, I practice on the app using setup punchline exercise primarily. When you freestyle, what proportion is setup punchline versus off the cliff rhyming? And my video's frozen. And we're back. Okay. And then, yes, so James, so you have the definitions that you've given of setup punchline and off the cliff. Totally correct. Yes, you totally understand what those mean. When I was a beginner, I was doing about 90% off the cliff and like 10% setup punchline. That was when I was a beginner. And you want to learn how to juggle back and forth between setup punchline and off the cliff, because sometimes you lose your train of thought and you have to go off the cliff. There's no choice. Again, I talked with Harry Mack about this. He says the same thing. Sometimes he goes off the cliff because he loses where he's at. So you have to go off the cliff sometimes, but the perfect thing, the ideal freestyle rapper would never go off the cliff. The perfect freestyle rapper, who I think they're out there right now, I think there's some 13-year-old out there somewhere who's going to be an absolute savage in 10 years. That person never going off the cliff. Always set up punchline every bar. So what you do as a beginner is you should be keeping track. How often do you go off the cliff? How often do you go set up punchline? What I used to do is I would just take my phone out and I would record myself for a minute, and then I would take a piece of paper. I would write off the cliff on this side, set a punchline on this side, and I would just keep a count. And I know, because I can remember my own brain. I can say, oh, I went off the cliff on that one. Oh, I did set a punchline on that one. So I just track after like a minute. I do 30 off the cliff and 10 set up punchline. I'll try again tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I do 20 and 20. Maybe the next day I do 10 off the cliff and 30 set up punchline. So you're trying to get more set up punchline and less off the cliff. And there's also one more level of off the cliffness that you can go, which is what I call truly off. Truly off is when you're not even off the cliff, you're just in the dark. You're just spitting rhymes and rhythms. You don't have the rhythm, you don't have rhetoric, you're just like spitting whatever you can to stay on the beat. That is where you never want to be. So I would rather be off the cliff than truly off. The other question you have is, I struggle with storytelling, connecting sentences together so they make sense. Basically, I can either focus on a good rhyme or a good story, but if you choose story, then the rhythm and the rhymes suffer, and if you choose good rhymes and rhythms, then the story suffers. Dude, 100%. Any exercises you can use to focus on telling stories. I spend time memorizing rhyming words so they become more automatic, but I'm curious, what about storytelling? Dude, you're asking me a black belt question right now. That is a very advanced stage of freestyle rapping, is storytelling. And I mean, to be honest, like, I'm not the best freestyle rapper in the world, right? I think Juice WRLD was better than I am. I think Harry Mack is obviously better than I am. I think Throwed Genji is better than me at wordplay. So I have things that I work on, and storytelling is one of the things that I personally work on. So it is super hard to improve at storytelling, and it's a very late stage thing to focus on. I think that learning how to rap about things that are happening in front of your eyes and learning how to rap about objects that are in the room is very helpful for storytelling, because ultimately the best way that I can think that helps me tell a story is when I can imagine a visualization of the story that's happening in my head. So if I'm rapping about being at the beach, then I'm hopefully like, I'm almost closing my eyes and like imagining like I'm at the beach. My feet are in the sand. There's a seagull over there. The pier is down there and they're selling cotton candy at the pier. Like, I'm trying to see in my head, because seeing it in my head is helping me tell the story. And so if I do raps where I rap about things around my room, then I'm literally seeing them. I'm not imagining them. So I just like, or like Yeah, Darius, great idea. Rap about your day, because it's really easy to imagine what happened today for you because you can see it. Obviously, it just happened. So if you rap about things that are more current, more present, it'll kind of teach your brain how to see an image and paint that picture. You know, they say like a picture paints 1,000 words. So I always think if you can paint a picture with your words, the audience can fill in all the rest. So ultimately, try to see a picture in your head, try to paint that picture. And storytelling, to go off your earlier question, the better you get at setup punchline, the better you get at storytelling. I talked about how the 3 parts of rap are rhythm, rhyme, and rhetoric. And rhyming, part of the rhyming section of our brain is associating and storytelling, because ultimately when we're juggling rhymes, we're not just juggling the rhymes, we're also juggling the idea of the rhyme, and we're juggling the imagery that we're painting, and sometimes we're not rhyming, so we're actually just juggling a brand new word that we're putting in. So that part of your brain that thinks of rhymes is the same part that thinks of what's next in the story, what's next for the image. So the better you get at set up punchline, the better you're going to get at storytelling. All right. That's all the questions that I have in the general chat. I am going to go to the chat in here and we'll answer. If you guys have any more questions, throw them in here right now. Then we'll wrap it up. But I'm going to get into these questions here. I thought James said, I thought about a question about rhetoric. What are some of your binary measures for succeeding and failing a rhetoric exercises? Dude, I like the way your brain's thinking, James. Dude, you're like... You're so on the right track, man. I love to rap with you. I hope you come through to one of these cypher nights. So rhetoric is the hardest thing to test because it is the most opinion-based of all of the... It's the most opinion-based of all of the 3 things. Like rhythm is very easy. You can be like, I'm going to do quarter notes. I'm going to do double time. I'm going to only do the 3rd and 4th beat. It's very easy to measure those things. Rhyme is pretty easy because aside from like slant rhymes or bending rhymes, like the word cat and the word bat just rhyme. Like we don't have to argue about it, right? So rhyming is easy. Rhetoric is hard to test because it's like, yo, I drop hot bars like fire. Like, is that a good bar? I don't know. Is that good rhetoric? I don't know. Is it? Like, so it's hard to, right? So we want to take opinion out of the equation. I have one test, or let me give you 2 tests. I'm going to give you 2 tests that you can do at an early phase that will really help your rhetoric. I still do these tests every day. One test I call self-referential rhetoric, which is the rhetoric that you use to set up the rhyme. So I spit so hot that the mic's on fire, right? I spit so hot that the mic's on is my rhetoric. Can that rhetoric be used for any other keyword, or can it only be used for the keyword that you're rhyming with in that sentence? That's called self-referential rhetoric. It's when the rhetoric exactly references the word that you're rhyming with, and you want to test yourself to see how specifically self-referential is my rhetoric. So for example, some people say, yo, every time I rhyme, it's fire. Every time I rhyme, spit bars. It's like, if you say every time I rhyme, you could say anything after that. Every time I rhyme, people scream. Every time I rhyme, I kill it. Every time I rhyme, I'm in the car. Like, you could say anything. So that rhetoric is not very self-referential. It doesn't reference the rhyme specifically enough. So one thing that I test myself on is how self-referential is my rhetoric. On the other hand, if I go, I mean, it is a good line to say, like, I spit so hot that the mic catch fire. It's like, if I say I spit so hot that the mic blank, it can only be a few things, and it has to be like fire related. The mic might burn you. The mic is hot lava. Like, it has to be heat related. So it's very self-referential. You know what I'm saying? These other rappers quiet as a mouse, but this ain't the Disney Channel. Like, that is so good because Disney's icon is a mouse. So it's like so self-referential. So how much can you make your rhetoric reference the word versus how generic is it? That's a test that I do. Whenever I spit bars, you know that I kill. Like, that is so generic. Whenever I spit bars, you know that I blank. You could say anything. So that one wouldn't pass my test, whereas the other ones would. And then the further rhetoric, the next level of rhetoric, which goes a little bit hand in hand with rhyming and storytelling, so it's kind of like a blue belt level test, is I have a thing that I call the Randi test. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of James Randi. James Randi was this guy who used to debunk mystics and psychics and like fake magical people. James Randi used to set up these tests to expose these people for being fake. So what he would do, the amazing Randy. So what he did, one guy said that he could turn the pages of a book with his mind, but James Randi was suspicious that the guy was just blowing on the book. So he took these little styrofoam things and put them around the book so that if the guy blew, the styrofoam would go in everywhere. Guess what? The guy couldn't turn the pages of the book anymore because, yeah, he was lying, right? So James Randi would test people to see, are they BSing or are they legit? I do my own version of that. I say, what if someone in the audience thought I was faking it, which is very common. A lot of times people think like, oh, you thought of that yesterday. You wrote that down and memorized it. You had your friend wear a blue shirt so that you could say that you do work and you rap to the dude in the blue shirt. You set that up. A lot of people think that. So you have to have a few rhymes in every verse that pass what I call the Randy test. And the Randy test is, how do I prove beyond a doubt that I'm freestyling right now? The way you prove it is your rhyming word has to be specific to this event that's happening right now. It can't be a generic, you can't just say I rap so hot that the mic's on fire. You could say that anytime. But if it's 98 degrees outside and you say I rap so hot, it gets to be 98 degrees. That can only be used today, and it can't be used yesterday because it was only 85 degrees yesterday, right? So it's like, how can you pass the Randy test? That's a combination of rhyme choice and rhetoric choice. So first, test yourself on self-referential rhetoric versus generic lines, and then upgrade to the Randy test where it's like, if I spit this rhyme, does it prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that I just made it up right now? Those are some rhetoric tests that I do. Then the next level, which is like insanity, which is where I'm at right now. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to fail a lot because I do like a 30% on this one, is double entendres. Being able to do a double entendre every line, that's another practice that I've seen Harry Mack do. It's insanely hard, but if you know what a double entendre is and you try to do a double entendre every line, that's a ridiculously hard practicing for rhetoric. One day freestyle rapping will be so popular that we will indeed stop random on the street going, let's freestyle rap right now. We're going to get gold bars out of everyone. Happy Mike, I so agree with you on this. It's so ridiculous. Dude, the crazy thing is, I've never gone anywhere where I haven't met a freestyle rapper. Like, it's crazy. I knew freestyle rappers in high school. I met freestyle rappers at college. I worked at a pizza shop in college, and I met two guys at the pizza shop who freestyle rapped. We went over to their house one night, we chilled, we had some pizza, we freestyled. I worked at some phone company. I met people there who freestyle rapped. Right? I worked at a rental car place. I met people there who freestyle rapped. I moved from a small little farm town out here to Boston. Obviously, I met people freestyle rap out here in Boston. I've never been anywhere that people don't freestyle rap. And it's crazy to me because I think of freestyle rapping today kind of how it was for like skateboarding or normal rapping or MMA back in the 90s. When those things were kind of new and not that many people did them, but then 30 years later today, they're like worldwide sensations. I would love that to happen to freestyle rap. I can't believe more people don't freestyle at a high level. So I hope that things like what we're doing today and like the rhyme game and the YouTube stuff can help more people get into it and get good at it and get confident, because I would love for there to just be like 10 million people around the world who freestyle. I want to make it so like if you go to a gym nowadays and play basketball with high schoolers, they're nasty. Like, high schoolers are nasty at basketball now. I would love freestyle rap to be the same way. You go to some random high school, there's just 10 kids who are nasty at it, you know? So hopefully we can get there, man. You guys are helping with that. In storytelling, I feel like the rhetoric takes care of itself 100%. When you're storytelling, the rhetoric starts to become the easiest part of it all, Rhetoric is the hardest when you're doing like battle rap or when you're doing like punchline rap. That's the hardest part for rhetoric. What are some tips to not always repeat the same rhetoric or bars? Bro, I love it. I totally have struggled with that in the past. I still have that problem. I have some, I call them safety rhymes, which is rhymes that I already know like 10 punchlines for. So one of those would be like, just comes to mind right now, the word comment, because I rap on YouTube a lot, so I see comments all the time and I rap about people's comments. And then I think comment, context, bomb threat, on next. And I have specific rhymes for that, right? I'll tell you a story so you get the context. I'm blowing up in the game like a bomb threat, stepping up to the plate because you know that I'm on next. I have those ready to go, and they're almost so ingrained in me that I get mad at myself when I spit them, and I'm like, damn, I just said the same punchline I always say, right? I think for me, one of the best ways to break that mold, you have to learn new punchlines and new rhymes for those words. You have to expand your catalog of memory, because what happens is if that word comes up next time and you just get afraid of it and you see that word, you go, oh God, I got to say something other than the one thing that I'm thinking of, the only thing that's stuck in my head right now. Now you stumbled and you messed up. So you can't just force it. You have to have another choice. So if I always say, for example, let's say I always rhyme the word cat with the word bat. I always say I'm a cool cat, and then I'm fly as a bat, and I always say that. I want to recognize that. Next time I do it, I'm going to take my phone or I'm going to take my notebook, and I'm just going to write it down. I'm going to write down, I always repeat cat and bat. And then after I'm done that day, I'm going to go to the cat and bat thing, and I'm going to write down what are some other things I can do. So I can write cat, bat, fat, sat, flat, and I can even not just write more rhymes to choose from, but I can write punchline ideas, right? I'm as cool as a cat. Well, I always say that one, so I got 9 lives like a cat. I always land on my feet like a cat. Here we go. Now I've got 3 punchlines, and then I'm going to put on a beat, and I'm literally just going to repeat those rhymes and those punchlines over and over for a whole entire beat. And I might do that every day for like 3 days in a row, just because I'm trying to force my brain next time I see the word cat, rather than having one thing that instantly gets in my head, I have 3, and I can choose from those, right? So, you know, a good example of that is me. I always, whenever I see the word comment, I go to the word bomb threat as a rhyme, and I don't always want to say I'm going to blow up in the game like a bomb threat. I don't always want to say that, so I'm going to think, what else? My punchlines are explosive like a bomb threat. Ooh, my haters are trying to dial me up like a bomb threat. Okay, I'm going to remember those, and once I have those memorized, next time it comes up, I'm actually going to have multiple choices rather than just the one choice that I remember, right? Give yourself multiple choices. So just memorize more. Other than practicing, is there anything we can do subconsciously to get better at freestyling as we go through our day, i.e. affirmations, listening to instrumentals? Yeah, listening to rappers. I mean, you know how often I steal punchlines from Lil Wayne? Like every day I steal a punchline from Lil Wayne. So listening to rappers, listening to instrumentals, learning other forms of music. I know that this takes a lot of time. Not everybody gonna want to do this, so you don't have to do this. But when I learned how to play the drums, which was like 3 years ago, around the same time I started freestyling, I also kind of started learning a little bit about how to play the drums. I just got better at freestyling. When I learned how to play guitar, I just got better at singing. It's like, what does guitar have to do with singing? Well, it has something to do with it. Something in your brain is related. So learning other instruments helps. You know what helps a lot too? Is public speaking, socializing, because rhythm, rhyme, and rhetoric are the 3 concrete skills of freestyle rap. Rhythm, rhyme, and rhetoric. But there's a 4th skill. The 4th skill is your tone, your vibe, your energy, your charisma. And that is opinion-based. That's more like you can't really learn how to create a good vibe and a good charisma alone in your room. You can only learn how to create a good vibe socially by going out and being social. So you know, hanging out with your friends, next time that you tell a joke to a group of friends and they all laugh, take a note and be like, how was it that I dropped that punchline that made them all laugh like that? Could I use that energy in a rap? Like next time I'm rapping, could I do that same kind of pacing, that same kind of drop to create that same kind of energy? Because a lot of times I find when I'm talking to my friends about like, hey man, let's go down to the beach, let's go swimming. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm like, right now I have a lot of energy. But then when I'm rapping sometimes with good rappers, I'm all closed up and I'm a totally different energy. So if you can learn a lot about your energy and your vibe and your charisma, and you can implement that with your rapping skills, that's going to help you a lot. Dude, I love that Wayne line. Yeah, and so if you guys have any more questions, throw them in the chat. I'm going to wrap it up today by leaving you with the one kind of big takeaway message of freestyle rapping. So you're going to hear a lot about belts in the Freestyle Forum. A white belt is somebody who's totally new to music and they have to learn the rules of rhythm. They have to learn how to rhyme. They have to learn how to create rhetoric. A yellow belt, that's somebody who they know how to rhyme, they know rhythm, they know rhetoric, but they're learning how to put them all together in a rap. A blue belt is someone who knows how to rap. Now they're learning how to control their rap through setup, punchline, and off the cliff, and they're learning how to go for 16 whole bars. A purple belt, that's somebody who's an advanced rapper, somebody who can do double time schemes, someone who can do A-B-A-B, A-A-A-A, somebody who can do 3-syllable rhymes, somebody who can do 16 bars straight, or maybe if they're unprompted, they can do a whole verse. That's a purple belt, somebody who's just technically incredible. A brown belt is somebody who can take an idea and they can turn it into an entire verse or an entire song. A brown belt is someone who can take an idea and not just rap well about it, but expand that idea into a story or into a scheme for a whole verse, right? And then I'll leave you with this. This will be my final lesson for today, then I'm out of here. A black belt rapper, somebody who is at the pinnacle of rap, someone who's at the peak of it all, none of that matters. None of any of those skill-based qualifications, no rhythm, no rhyme, no rhetoric, none of that matters. What a black belt is in rap is someone who can create an energy on the mic. Somebody who can create an infectious energy that draws an audience or draws people into that or creates a movement in the industry. Somebody whose music makes an impact. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of music, the whole reason we're learning how to rap is to make an impact and to transfer energy. We want to make something happen energy-wise, and skills like rhythm, rhyme, and rhetoric, honestly, they're only tools to make that happen. Some of the best improvised musicians don't even rap. Some of the best improvised musicians, they aren't even that technically skilled at their music. They just are amazing at creating energy. So keep that in mind as you level up the chain from white belt to yellow belt to blue belt to purple belt to brown belt, and you're learning these skills and doing these binary practices and testing yourself. At the end of the day, throw all that shit out the window when you perform and just make energy happen. Because that's what makes you a black belt at rapping. It's not any type of skill, it's your ability to make energy, all right? Have you thought about creating tags so people can indicate when they are looking for ciphers? Yeah, JDaz, we have them. We have tags for, so let me plug this. Go to the server guide at the top of the channel bar here at the server. In the server guide and in the channels and roles, you can turn on whether you want alerts for beginners, whether you want alerts for cipher alerts for people who are looking for ciphers, and you can tag others if you're looking for ciphers. So that should help people match up. And yeah, and so that should help us connect with the community and get more ciphers going. I'm going to be in here on Monday evening at like about 8 p.m. Eastern time, about 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to be doing a open cipher with everybody, just rapping, no rules, no setting, just like chilling out, hanging out, spitting. And if you want to join us, then join us. After that, the week after, we're going to do a beginner's night. So if you're a beginner and you don't really feel like you can join us in the full cipher, 1 week after that, we're going to be doing that. And there's going to be a lot more stuff like this to help you guys learn. The tags could use the belt system. that is coming soon. That is happening soon. About the black belt rappers, for me, that famous King Los, dude, Happy Mike, 100%. I always think of King Los when I think about black belt rappers because, and I think about Mark Rebier too, because those two are guys who, they don't follow the rules of setup punchline. But who cares? Because I could listen to Los rap for 10 hours, so who cares if he follows the rules of music? What matters is he makes me feel awesome, and I love listening to him rap. So at the end of the day, even if I can do setup punchline better than, like, let's say me and King Los lined up and I could do more rhymes than him, it doesn't matter because King Los can create an energy. And so even if there's different skills, I still consider King Los to be at the top of the pinnacle of freestyle rapping. All right, everybody, keep an eye out. We're going to be doing ciphers soon. If you got any last words before we take off today, that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope that I gave you stuff that can help you guys improve. This is the start of the freestyle rap revolution. Tell your friends, get people on the rhyme game, get people rapping, cypher in this thing. Come see me on Monday nights. We're going to jam out, dude, and we're all going to learn how to be amazing, incredible freestyle rappers. We're going to change the game. We're going to change the world. Thank you, guys. Thanks, James Kent. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Soul. I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out.